Hello and welcome to the Dead Air Dudes. I'm Izzy.
I'm Raka, and you guys are Dead or Dudes Nation. Thanks for liking, subscribing, supporting, and listening. Feedbacks and all. Thank you.
Feedbacks and all. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this video for more great content. And we're going to continue our true crime series, but with a twist. We're going to start this now. We're going to also give you some true crime and give you some whiskey. I'm going to give you some bourbon whiskey. I have
What are you drinking, Izzy?
Widow Jane 10-year single barrel bourbon. Okay. All right. It comes in at a 45.5 ABV or 91 proof. And what are you partaking in, Raka, today?
That's very nice. What does that taste like? What are the notes?
Well, shall we try it now?
We should try it now. To answer your question, I am going to drink straight from Scotland by way of blended malt Scotch whiskey, the original Monkey's Shoulder. I did a review on this because I absolutely love it. I mean, it's malty, it's vanilla-y, it's aromatic. One of Spaceside's finest single malt whiskeys. Oh, it's so heavenly complex. So, shall we?
For all you ASMR fans, I hope that satiated at least for a little bit. Now,
that's a good idea. We should do that. ASMR, just opening bottles of bourbon whiskey.
Good. Now, we shake it around, get the legs out, right?
Look at that. Look at them legs. Look at them. Look at them. Look at them. Look.
Wish you guys on the podcast could see this. Oh, you can. Just look at the video.
Oh, too bad you can't smell it.
Oh, well, that's right. Unless you bring out the smell-o-vision. Raka, speaking of smells.
Oh, got some nice strong alcohol that just floats up. Again, vanilla, sweetness, some cinnamon maybe. It lingers. It has a mild flavor. You could tell when it does not burn the nose hairs, doesn't singe it, that it's going to be good. When it hits you with as though it's a baked good, oh, it's going to be good.
Like a biscuit, maybe?
Like a biscuit, unlike, rocket fuel.
Okay, well.
SpaceX.
Figured it would be with the amount of it being 91 proof, it would be ethanol-y, if that's even a word. It's not. You smell on the nose, you have vanilla.
I got 43 alcohol by volume here.
Oak barrel and char. That's very good. That's it.
All right, let's do it to it.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
That is really smooth. I know you're not supposed to say that in the bourbon annals, the people, but that's sweet, nice, vanilla. You have a little citrus towards the end, and the heat is minimal. This is excellent. Now, I regret not buying a second bottle. Since I found this, I have yet to find it at a similar price. It's supposed to MSRP for about $75, give or take. I bought this at $39. Now, I haven't seen it for less than $70, so go figure.
Hey, you know what? You can always find it. There's a way, there's a will. I'm going to put you onto a couple of sites how I track where I could find my stuff.
Look at you. So this
and same to you out there. I'll put you guys on.
Finish up what's your flavor profile, palette or whatever.
It's definitely vanilla. There's some honey. It has a subtle sweetness. It's not overpowering. There's no burn. It is so smooth. It's almost like a dessert.
That's
You
also
know,
what is not surprising to me, but what's interesting to me is that Widow Jane is actually a New York bourbon. Okay, it's
and why?
had to have an office in Brooklyn and a distillery 105 miles north of New York City in actually Red Hook. Interesting. It gets its name due to the fact that the company uses water that comes from the Widow Jane mines in Rosendale, or actually Rosedale. It wasn't Rosendale. Actually, yeah, Rosendale mines of New York. So yeah, so they obviously get the stuff from Kentucky and finish it over here. So yeah, good shit. Good shit.
And we are not just having bourbon and whiskey tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We are drinking while discussing the horrid putrid of society, the criminal minded and criminal activity, and the depraved. Tonight's guest, if you call it that, is a little bit of a different spin than what we're usually accustomed to discussing. And we'll let you guys figure on where you want to place him in the category, what kind of nomenclature, what kind of, you make the decision. This person has been called the real life Dexter, the real life Punisher, the real life uh, Death Wish Charles Bronson character, if you will.
Real life vigilante, so to speak.
And it is none other than Pedro Rodriguez Filo.
Or better aptly named, Pedrinho Matador, or Killer Petey.
I like Killer Petey out of them all.
Okay, now.
Go figure. Sorry, don't mean to laugh. Don't mean to make light of this. Again, all you out there who have listened, this is now on close to 20 in our series of true crime. We've gotten some great input. We've gotten some great feedback, and I'm happy. We are happy to entertain and bring to you different facts and our viewpoints on these investigations, pursuits, killings, the effects of these people. Killer Petey, as Izzy has alluded to, is of a different stroke than anybody we've covered thus far. He's not can't say he's not solely a cannibal. He's not solely he's no record of being a rapist or molester.
He's a murderer, cannibal once, robber sometimes, or burglar for that matter. And he has and I don't mean to make light of this, a body count of at least 71 to 100 plus. Okay? Now, what makes Killer Petey different than our other 18 or 20 or whatever number it is, other episodes and killers, is the fact that, like Dexter, he, for the most part, has killed killers or criminals for that matter in his mind. Or actually, you know what? No, actual criminals who, in his perception, they have the punishment deserves a crime. A la the Punisher. Okay, so
and we're talking about Brazil here. Yes, we've gone out of the scope of the states. We don't want to just confine ourselves to the U.S. because people in the U.S. are not the only people. Criminals in the U.S. are not the only criminals that commit these heinous crimes.
Fascinating characters all around the world, and we're just scratching the surface. Going back to South America, where Killer Petey was born, June 17th, 1954, in Santa Rita do Socai. I probably mangled that, so I apologize. Brazil. So,
yes, neither one of us are fluent in Portuguese, but we are doing our best, which is why we're opting to refer to him as Killer Petey. Now,
take it away, Rocco.
Some people are condemned at birth. Some people are condemned after birth. Some people are condemned during their childhood. This poor dude was condemned before birth.
Yes.
Daddy Killer Petey kicked mommy's womb and bruised the skull of Killer Petey before he was born. So
Yeah.
he came out of the womb literally kicked in the head.
Yeah.
As far as developmental issues go, forget about anything psychological or genetic. The dude's head already got scrambled.
Yeah. The Killer Petey's father was abusive to the mother, and in one grave instance, he actually, like Robert said, kicked him in the stomach, and yeah, he came out damaged. Now, no one has ever mentioned in our research that this actually caused him to, I guess, be this way. So there's no, correlation like officially about that, but it did not help. Okay.
So all we have thus far is that his dad is abusive. The details of what abuse means, we don't know. We can only surmise through different accounts and through Killer Petey. He was very physically and verbally abusive. There was no mention at all, though we cannot rule it out just because it was never mentioned, of any kind of sexual misconduct and whatnot. Again, sorry, late disclaimer. This is very, very graphic content. Warning you now, should you not be okay with this, we are not offended. Tune off and listen to some of our more tame podcasts. But this is going to get
Of
graphic.
Cruella or of
Army of the Dead.
that doesn't really work. But yeah, sure.
No, we had an awesome review of Raya and the Dragons. So
Yes, and Mulan as well. Now, when Killer Petey's first urge to kill was when, Rocco?
Right at the precipice of puberty. Say that 5 times twice.
The precipice of puberty.
So at age 13, 14, he had some kind of scuffle with a cousin. Things got physical. I don't want to say this to be generous, but boys will be boys. And he only took it too far, wanting to kill his cousin and wanted to push him. In fact, did push him into a sugarcane machine, nearly killing his cousin. Cousin survived.
Yes.
But he never denied the fact that at age 13/14, he had the first urge to kill without any regret, remorse, or second thought.
So Killer
That's blood.
was aptly named. And he committed his first murder at the ripe old age of 14.
Yeah, so here's the story. Story goes, Daddy's been working at the local school for a while as a security guard.
Yep.
So Daddy provided, okay. He was fired. They accused the father of stealing food from the public school to bring it home. And Pedro felt this was wrong. Dad said it was wrong. I believe Dad. There's no evidence. In fact, Dad accused another security guard, another group of people, of stealing the stuff, and they framed him. Pedro got so incensed by his dad's wrongful firing, he went up to
the deputy mayor or the vice mayor.
Deputy mayor. This is in public. In public.
It might have been broad daylight. Might have been
in broad daylight in front of what amounts to be City Hall or their equivalent to City Hall. So this is a federal, municipal, whatever you want to call it. And kills him with a shotgun.
With his grandfather's shotgun. So, yeah. And
so at 14 years old, he kills in what he believes to be a righteous kill.
Righteous kill. And only a month later, Petey kills the supposed thief.
Yes. The thief and the accomplice, I believe.
So, in the same fashion. So already at the right, like you said, the ripe old age of 14, he already has 2, possibly 3 kills on his ledger.
He is acting as judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah.
At 14.
We're not defending this guy at all, even though he has a quote unquote righteous kill on his thing, but it gets worse.
So he does not get caught for this.
No,
Again,
I,
a concurring theme throughout today's episode is the Brazilian police are nowhere to be found.
I think what he spends, years upon years, goes to Sao Paulo, and they do not find him.
No, he begins robbing drug dealers and
Yeah.
killing drug traffickers. Again, all righteous kills in his mind. This is an individual who is not yet 18. This is, between his 14 and 20-year-old.
Years of just rampant, but he makes a grave mistake.
Well, yeah, I mean, he meets a woman who becomes his girlfriend.
Maricia Aparecida Olimpia or Botinha,
Yeah, they're living together. That seemed to have calmed him down. Take that for what it's worth.
But here is where the mistake is called. She was dating a high-level drug guy at the time. So
Yep.
what ends up happening is that Killer Petey dispatches the competition. And eventually, like every movie, they come back for him. And what happens, Rocco?
Well, he has now recruited some of his own people. Think she ends up losing the baby.
Yeah, she's killed. She's killed and obviously used the baby. Now, here, this drives Killer Petey nuts. And here is where he hires pretty much Death Squad. And
The wedding.
he hears of a wedding that is being, I guess set up or run or, put on by the so-called drug guys. And he pays them a visit.
At the wedding.
Yes. And a massacre ensues to the tune of 7 dead people and 16 injured.
Yes. I mean, as we progress in our investigation and our probing into Pedro and his life, I can't help but wonder that many of today's movies, TV series, even comic books may have stemmed from listening to stories about Pedro. Again, he's born in the 50s. This happened in the 60s and 70s. The Game of Thrones Red Wedding could very well have been Pedro. Killing people with machetes could have been Pedro. Death Wish, Punisher, the whole vigilante, everybody. This really happened.
Yeah, no, and guys and gals, it gets even worse because what transpires, next is just,
So he leaves a trail of bodies and blood in his anger.
There's more. He not only killed these people, but he also tortured them to get information.
Where the gang leader is.
Exactly. So the 16 people who were injured, I'm pretty sure they were meant to be killed. It just so happens that they survived. And that is just, cold-hearted.
His rampage goes on and on and on. To the tune of only within the same time zone, almost in the same period. His father and his mother have an altercation.
Before that, sorry to cut you off. Before that, several months after the wedding incident, he has a cousin. He has a cousin girl who gets pregnant, and her boyfriend refused to marry her.
Yes.
So what does Killer Petey do, Rocco?
Killer Petey, you would think would have a sit-down talk with said father but instead confronts the alleged father and kills him.
Yeah, shoots him to death.
Now, cousin is without, maybe would never have been married, but baby is without a daddy.
Yep.
So, listen, you don't want to get married? Totally get it. As a father of the baby, there is still the possibility that he would be involved financially, emotionally, physically, participate in life and everything. You don't have to get married. But in Pedro's eyes, no is no.
Now,
And the cousin, everybody is terrified. Nobody wants to say anything now.
and the crazy thing is that everybody knows that he's done this, and the cops still have not been able to catch him.
Yeah, that's such a gray area.
You know? But in the slums and the favelas over there, it's a whole.
Oh yeah.
So it's like don't ask, don't tell. Cops don't go over there. But it is.
I get the feeling they're scared of his ass.
Yeah, and the thing here is that at this point, to what happens next, Petey at this point has done things and killed people, albeit in his mind justified and righteous in his mind. But I don't know.
Well, I mean, not to get into a big social political talk, but in every country, to different degrees, this is why we have a set of laws, a criminal justice system, police enforcement, yada, 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 down the road, so that injustice can be addressed in a somewhat legal, systemized, and vetted system that everybody's not accusing, everybody's just going around doling out their own justice, how they see fit.
Yeah, their own now.
And we will get into his depraved and warped criteria for who lives and dies.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get that very shortly. So now we fast forward to his father.
Yes.
So mom and dad have some kind of altercation.
Mm-hmm.
Dad kills mom with a machete. Word of this gets back to Pedro.
No.
And I think everybody can guess what happens next. Although you're not going to guess this.
No, you're not. But say that for a second. For someone to be killed with a machete, it's personal. Okay?
True.
It's not like shooting someone. For someone, it would be the closest thing to be to stab someone or strangle someone, or it's a very personal, very intimate, very angry type of thing. So you can just imagine what kind of a motherfucker, pardon my language, the dad must have been. Okay, so
this is why I have to agree with you, and I have to believe that Pedro was not a product of just getting kicked in the skull and had some brain scrambled, and he was a fetus, not yet born alive. He must have witnessed some shit growing up, and all he probably witnessed growing up is the answer to conflict is violence.
Well, of course. I mean, look at the warped sense of I guess, I'm not gonna say family, but the dad. We know the dad abused him, yet he felt loyalty or enough
to kill for him,
and yet he killed for his father, even though his father nearly killed him before he was even born.
So there's, whether it's passive or direct or just in growing up, he was brainwashed as this is the way you deal with things, with people, whatever. Whether it's verbal, somebody who lost a job, some other issue, every answer is machete, shotgun, fight, vengeance.
Yeah. So then
he gets arrested. So daddy gets arrested.
So then they did a good job. They finally caught someone. All right, cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. What was me? I mean, good lord. So
But
he gets caught. And again, this where it gets sketchy. I've heard conflicting reports on
from
as far as pays a visits to his dad in the jail. I don't know if this is a visitation room. I don't know if it's right directly into his cell. Either way, he makes it through security with some kind of homemade shank or some kind of small knife with him.
Mhm.
He makes it to his dad. I don't think too many words are exchanged, but he proceeds to stab his dad, what, 20, 21 times, 22 times?
Well, first, let's not forget he had a machete supposedly. Okay, now
I
again,
don't think, but he couldn't carry that in.
he whacked him 21 times with whatever weapon it was, whether machete,
Some kind of sharp object.
and then he stabbed him 22 times.
And
Then
here's the kicker.
he carved out his father's heart
His thump thump.
and took a bite out of it.
Chewed it and then spat it out. I guess it wasn't to his liking, or like, that's my last fucking insult to you, Pops.
It might have been too rare for him. I don't know.
But what gets me out of the whole thing, which of course, this is right out of a fucking movie. He walks out.
Yeah.
How do you get into a jail, stab your pops 20 plus times, rip his heart out, take a bite out of crime, spit it out, and then walk out unless everybody's like this? Oh shit, motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, and this is a guy.
Door's right there.
This is a guy. I don't mean to laugh. This is a guy who has already killed. I mean, in the double digits. You know, all that was. He's still not even 21 years old yet, I think, at this point. So then somehow, and I tried to research it as much as I could. It doesn't say how he got captured. Do you know?
No, see, I also have read many periodicals, watched many YouTube videos, and it's one of those things. Along with this whole story, where you do one of these, scratch your head, you're like, Brazil, what up?
So he finally gets arrested for the first time on May 24th, 1973. Okay, which is lots of years later. All right. Now, he wasn't alone when he was arrested. He was with an accomplice or another criminal with him. And either he was in a cop car or in a cop van.
But never is this quote more fitting than to this individual in any of the people we've covered. And I know we haven't hit some of the big hitters yet, but this quote is very telling. Oh, wait, there's more. Because as soon as I just hear things, my mouth was agape. Most of the videos that I've watched, they were like, "Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
Are you shitting me?"
I'm looking, I'm researching this, and I'm like, whoa. So somehow, either they knew each other, but he knew that he was a criminal and he knew that he was a rapist. And so when, unbeknown to the cops, when they arrive, I guess at the prison or at the precinct or whatever, they see the guy dead. So Petey killed the guy while in transit to their destination.
So let's stop here and let's take this. You and me are in the back of
Paddy
the
wagon?
police paddy wagon. We're handcuffed, right? So both of us handcuffed. I'll play the role of Petey. Hey, what they get you for?
Oh, I just.
And you say, I raped some. I was, you raped somebody. You're no good. Now, this is the only part that gets really great to me. How the hell did he kill him?
Maybe he.
Did he do some some spy shit and get his cuffs through his ass, down through his legs, and then suffocate the motherfucker with his handcuffs wrapped around his neck. I mean, this is what's more than anything in the story that perplexed me. How did he kill him?
I don't know.
They don't say either. Again, Brazil. This is what legend and folklore is made of. So we have now witnessed him kill at the age of 14, on the run, kill drug dealers, kill people at a wedding. Drug dealers are not, they're at a festive wedding. Goes on the lam, kills other drug dealers, gets his own army, kills people left and right. Kills his nephew's his cousin's baby daddy. Then goes, kills the dad, eats the heart out, kills more people, gets locked up. Eventually, gets arrested on the way to lockup, kills a prisoner right next to him.
But this is the one he admits, and he gets and
he's beating his chest. He's proud.
And I maybe I misread or maybe I misunderstood, but this is the one he gets. You know, he gets caught on, and he's sentenced to 126 years. Right? I mean, or just
yes.
If I'm wrong, just let me know.
No, and I'm just wondering, for killing that guy.
I mean, and he's to be released in 2003. Okay, at this point, because Brazil has a rule that what, Raka?
Again, there is some legal ramifications I found out that a lot of people in South America did so that dictators and their minions can stay in power and not get prison for the rest of their lives. Nobody in Brazil, like many neighboring countries, can be in prison for more than 30 years. Some countries it's 25 years. Doesn't matter how heinous or how many disgusting capital crimes they've committed. You make it to 30 years, there's the door, here's a Metro card, here's a mango and a banana.
Yeah. Supposedly the rule was repealed on decree number 99.
But
at this point...
But this becomes academic. Because while his stay at prison,
at Chateau prison, he used it as his personal playground.
You're taking a vigilante and dropping him amongst nothing but criminals.
Yes, you gave him a buffet.
The only thing I could say is a disgusting human being.
Yes.
But you have to kind of appreciate and respect the fact and tip the hat. Yeah, I'm going to say this. And again, don't dignify the person. This mofo survived X number of years in lockup as a known killer of criminals, killing in excess of 47, 50 criminals.
47 plus.
47 plus criminals while incarceration.
Get outside.
You know he's a vigilante. You know he's preying on you. Yet this guy survived.
Well, yes,
holy shit!
He hated him, and they were afraid of him, and they actually put out a hit on him, in which they sent 5 guys, and he killed 3 and injured 2.
Yes, get to the gangbang. This thing was interesting.
Okay. So
now he got fucked up pretty good.
Well, of course. Go ahead. Go with that.
And so he was recovering from his wounds. And again, I cannot give you the exact quote, but it's a similar quote from the great South African Shaka Zulu. Don't leave anybody alive. Leave everybody dead. Don't you leave somebody alive, they will come back to haunt you. They left him alive. So he healed up. He was on the mend, and once fully mended, he started his vengeance, picking apart each of the individuals that tried to gang kill him, and ended up killing all of them.
Yep.
So we're talking about it. This is stuff that is movie dripping wet, movie galore. That I mean, it's right out of Punisher, Marvel's Punisher. Oh my God!
Wait, there's more.
Get
for
to it.
all for all the crimes and the people he killed, he was sentenced to another 400 years. Okay? Now, again, we know he only could do 30. So for the 400 years he was sentenced to, they gave him actually 4. So technically he stayed 34 years.
1% of the 400.
Okay? So, hey, he stayed longer than
Brazil.
you know?
Brazil, what a destination.
So now he not only killed people who he thought deserved it, but he also kind of, there's reports that he killed a man because he snored.
His cellmate. He killed his cellmate because he snored too loud. Now, I will confess to you all out there, Raka is a deep snorer. That's right. And please don't kill me. Nudge me a bit. You can give me a little ribbing. You can step on my toe. You can even cut off the little toe. Don't really need it. But don't kill me because I'm snoring, because I have some kind of nasal defect and I'm snoring my ass. Holy cow. Now, this is where it cannot be an isolated case while he's snoring. Maybe that guy looked at me wrong. I don't like his mustache. There were 2 meatballs left and he took both of them.
My guess, he probably was looking for an excuse to kill the guy. He wanted to kill him, and then he just, this mofo is snoring too loudly. He's a criminal. He probably robbed, and stole some Bazooka Joes, and then that's it. He's done.
So, whatever. I'm not crying over the criminal, but poor criminal gets locked up for X crime, and he gets tossed into this guy as a cellmate.
That's the point. That's why, as much as you can say, oh, he's the Punisher, oh, he's a vigilante, oh, they kind of deserved it, no one is equal in prison.
Yeah.
You can be in prison for theft. You can be in prison because you raped someone. You can be in prison because you killed someone. Now, which leads me to my next thing. He actually met a girlfriend in prison.
Yes. Now, this is one of those, they keep in touch, baby. Once she got out, they keep in touch. And she did keep it. I mean, he must have made some kind of impression on her because
they wrote letters, and she did 12 years for theft. Okay. He killed.
So wait. Pause right there. Pause right. So wait. Hold on. So for the X number of murders that Pedro did, 30 years max, but you steal some bread, you get 12.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so they end up together.
Yes.
He gets out on April 24, 2007. I guess they hook up, but then he gets arrested again in 2011 near his rural home because he went to a rural home to be a caretaker. I mean, the irony in the whole story is
Said he wasn't going to be an undertaker.
I mean, it would fit his day job and his hobby.
Too soon.
Then he serves another 8 years for charges of riot, deprivation of liberties. I assume he kidnapped some people and all this other stuff. I mean, so when is he released now? He was released in 2018.
Yeah, so officially, I mean, he was part of some riots and some other stuff where he spent some more time. He actually spent a couple years in prison again.
And yes, another 4 years. Now this is where it gets a little unnerving.
Until he finally came out in 2018 for good. Now,
so Pedro is released currently today, 2021 in Brazil. He's living in some rural area. He is released. He is a free man. He has found God in Christianity. He has written a book, apparently a bestseller. He's dedicated his life to correcting young men and boys from a life of crime to find Jesus, find God, and do good. And he's also got, drum roll, please.
A YouTube channel, which you guys can check out right after this.
We are not linking his website. I'll tell you what, you can look at it yourself.
But yeah, he's 66 years old right now, to believe, right? 66.
66 years old, done 100 plus murders, and he's released.
And he's released, and now he found God, and he actually tells people, like he said, he also comments on crimes and what they did, and yeah, he's completely against everything. Now, what was fascinating that he also had a tattoo back in the day that said, "I kill for pleasure." Now, after that, he actually got it covered up, but
I kill for God.
I'm not sure if he had that for in prison to scare people off, or he actually really felt that. Now,
I have a guess he didn't need that in prison.
no.
People just say that's Petey over there. That's Killer Petey. Let him do what he wants. Stay out of his way.
Now, a couple things that I found interesting was they did several profiles on him and case studies, and they studied him, and psychiatrists and therapists did all kinds of work with him. And one in particular, mentioned, that he is described as the perfect psychopath. Some prefer to classify him as a sociopath. The same report diagnosed him with paranoid and antisocial traits. The criminologist and writer Lana Kasoy suggested that he was, quote unquote, an Avenger vigilante type killer, end quote, with great intelligence and an almost photogenic memory, who built all of his identity over his murders.
And he waited the waiting game and is a free man. Yeah. Meanwhile, having his predilection, his hobby, his never interrupted. So if he is a true sociopath, which I believe is probably better than a psychopath, he was smart enough to still maintain killing throughout his entire life.
Now, we always have the same issue, and it's not a coincidence. Regardless of the time frame, regardless of the time, regardless of the country, regardless of anything, it comes back to the justice system every single time. How is it that a guy who committed so many murders, albeit whether or not, because it was in the 70s, late 60s, it wasn't in it wasn't in the 1900s. I mean, it's not like he went, regardless whether or not he's killing dirtbag criminals or not. I mean, they couldn't get this guy, really, especially when he essentially took over a drug dealing empire to a degree. So, I mean, and they couldn't do that. I mean, come on.
I know, like for real.
Maybe they turned a blind eye, which is entirely possible. They turned a blind eye to it, and I get it, I guess. But at the same time, we can't applaud this guy. We can, in a way, I guess, understand to a degree, but he's still...
For us now, forget about him. For us now, the viewing public or the public at large, the vast majority, whether they admit it or not, root for the vigilante.
Yes.
Most people, I would say, maybe not major crimes, but have been victims some form of injustice, whether their car was robbed, they were robbed, somebody they know was hurt or killed wrongfully, yada, yada, down the road. And there's a little part of everybody that kind of roots for the person that goes outside the law and corrects or punishes those that slip through the cracks of the law, those that are not found right away, those that would never get caught. They're too powerful, they're too big. And there's a little bit of romanticizing, as in Dexter and movies and whatnot. But it's a different thing when it's really reality.
Of course. I mean, shit. I mean, yeah, everybody wants to get revenge on someone else, whether you want to admit it or not. Whether or not everyone dreams, oh, beat up the bully. Oh, do this. Oh, if I grab a hold of that person, I would do something very bad. I mean, even people. Oh, take the hey, and it's the son of Sam. Everyone. Oh, if I get my hands on son of Sam, I'll kill him. Okay. Would you really? When the push came to shove, this guy had that switch, that little mental thing that says,
No second thought.
don't do it. This is wrong. He was gone.
No, this guy had no second thought. It was not even a reflex. It was not even a consideration. There was not even up for debate. Like, I'm killing that guy.
It's no different, and not to get too geeky, you guys, but it's no different than the original iteration of the Punisher. We're talking about the original, when he was a complete psychopath, and you threw a paper on the street, he was going to shoot you down because it was something wrong. I'm talking about the later on Punisher, where they kind of
the Punisher's character was unhinged because of that singular act that killed his family, and because of that act, all bets were off.
Yeah, he just checked out.
Which I agree to a sense, not to get this into a totally different discussion, but I get this into a sense where the latest rendition of the Punisher is a little bit more even keeled with a more defined moral code, when the reality is you cannot be both. You cannot be a vigilante and
where that's what triggers him, more often than not, to do those things. But
because,
a good guy,
like it or not, you guys, many or whatever.
as far as we read, 100%.
So all those other serial killers, and that's the literal definition of a serial killer. There's a pattern established. So his pattern was, in his warped sense of justice, he's righting wrong. Life that's still ongoing. Be careful where you travel in Brazil. And this has been another great episode of Rock Izzy, Deader Dudes.
Buddy, I'm Izzy.
I'm Raka. You are the Deader Dudes Nation. Save the whales.
Take care, guys.